Hello, hello. Welcome to Eat Your Backyard, my YouTube channel, where I bring you with me on my adventures and also show you my little food forest backyard here in Central Florida. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs up. That helps get the word out. What a beautiful morning. Spring has absolutely sprung. I'm very pleased. This is the time of year where we're just coming out of really the slowest period of growth, of course, in the wintertime, but it always looks really worn out this time of year. Even the lawn is a little worn out from all the football playing, but this is also a time of rebirth, of course. And this morning, I think I'll just bring you with me on my normal life pattern of Sunday mornings where we enjoy a little coffee. Today, I am drinking the Calafia coffee. It's like a cold pressed coffee, and I got some soy milk in there. Let's see. Make sure I can see the chats. Can I get a banana cutting from you? Well, Palm Nation, that is a really inefficient way to get a banana going, meaning to wait for me to get it and get it to you, but I don't know, maybe we can work something out. Shoot me an email. Look at these little hens. By the way, if the stream goes down, that's probably because I just need to switch to the cell tower or back to the router, but sometimes we get disconnected. It's mostly because there's power lines up here, I believe. Palm Nation says you should plant a sausage tree. Yeah, I've thought of doing that. I actually have a friend that has a very large sausage tree, and it's a fascinating tree. They are very big, though. Oh, your Cavendishes survived? Died way back to the roots. Yeah. Winter's not an easy time period for bananas anywhere, really. Even here, we got burn on all the bananas, but of course they're rebounding. I had a little experiment going to see if I could relocate my banana grove, which was back where the chicken pen is now, chicken coop is now, to this area, and they were doing pretty well for a while, but now the hens have gotten into really digging at the base of these banana trees, and you can see they're just coming down like crazy. Cavendishes are the worst bananas to grow where you are. Yeah, they are cold sensitive for sure. They do really, really well here. We'll go over and take a look at how they're doing here. Everything is jumping up in the yard, everything. Spring has completely occurred. Oh, yeah, well, it's live and learn. I mean, I've killed more plants than I've grown, that's for sure. Now, hopefully this wind isn't affecting the audio too much. I'm using a Rode Go-To mic, so it has a wind sock on it and should be providing really clear audio. I've got the phone on a gimbal. The pineapple tower is performing. I have one slot remaining. Scratch that. Yes, no. One slot remaining. The Orinoco banana. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't have any of those. Everything that I have, the Musa, the Cavendish, an ice cream, apple, banana, all those are very cold insensitive. I may have an Orinoco actually that I got from a cutting that's growing back under this tree. I've lost track of what the varieties are. But this is really just getting started. You can see they don't look great, but what does look great is all of this oak leaf that I've been placing back here in organic matter. The layering of the leaves and all the chop and drop activity that I've been doing is now starting to accumulate and get a little depth to it. And this is the time of the year where we get the oak tree gold going. You see, that is a tremendous resource from my yard. I just rake it up and bring it back here. Now this year I've got this little cart thing that I use to move stuff around. I've been doing a major trimming on my live oak in my front yard, which had gotten massive and was leaning really hard to the left, which was not good because in a big hurricane, we're bound to get one, that thing would have tilted over. So I've been trimming it, but taking my time, just trimming the maximum amount I can in one weekend and then leaving it to the next. I've actually I was going to try to process all the branches, but there's no way. I'm keeping all the wood, but the smaller branches I'm getting rid of. All the straight stuff I'm keeping. Like if you see this, look at this. This is a resource to me that I don't want to lose. See that nice straight oak stick? That thing will last for a long time. That's good for tying up a tomato or a small tree or whatever. And so I'm going to I've captured most of those really straight sticks. Yeah, some of it I'll use for edging. A lot of it some of it I'll use for firewood. But I hate to see this valuable resource leave the yard. This is just where I placed the beginning of the first cuttings I did of that oak tree. And you can see it dropped all the leaves, which is great because I'll collect those leaves, but I've yet to process this. Sitting next to 2 dead banana trees. Talk about dead banana trees. One had given its fruit, the other one had been pecked to death by the chickens. This is a mulberry tree trunk, which is interesting. I always find it interesting to place these larger, older growth logs on the ground and see what they do and how quickly they break down. And behind it is a pile of Dracaena limbs, branches, that is all that remains of this massive trimming exercise that I executed on my eastern wall here. If you see, it's blue sky there. That was green all the way up to the level of those lines. I hear the chickens having a cackle fest. It's not a live stream on Sunday morning until they do, but I hate the cackle fest. I'm gonna just admit it. I can't stand it. Who's the perpetrator? Is it you? Yeah, busted. Make my neighbors hate me. Don't want that. Now, that's really a paranoid thought because that is nothing compared to even the slightest barking dog, and the chickens hardly ever do that, really. Only in the mornings. They get a little chatty. Oh. Well, this might be a good time. Maybe I'll let one chicken out. Let the chatty chicken out. All right, chicken. That's Blondie. Nope, that's not Blondie. That's Sunshine. In you go. See, they love to go into the bunny run. Everybody loves to go into the bunny run. All right, let's let the bunnies out. I haven't let the bunnies out today. We gave them lots of fresh veggies this morning. Again, if this stream cuts off, just hang on. I'll reestablish the connection. But yeah, we generally leave the front of their cages open. They don't try to jump out or anything. And then we give them turns weekends they get about a good half day out each. All right. Any preferences there, live stream? Which bunny to put down? Thumper or Penelope? I think I'm going to go with the Thumper. He looks a little bit more frisky. Now, in order to grab him, I've got to use 2 hands. We do not want to drop the rabbits. Hey, chickie chick. What a day. Off to a good start. The ocean's really choppy right now, so I'm not going to surf probably. Oh, man. Yeah, well, it's good that you're getting some good weather there, Palm Nation, at least for a little while. Oh, look at this. This is where the box had been. We just moved this thing around so they have new areas to explore and kind of make hidey holes under. And the rabbits love to dig. They get to dig. This is like really soft sand, so you can see this lighter sand that is the lower layer underneath this very thin layer of more or less topsoil that's here. And then it's just straight down to beach sand. But the rabbits are quickly redistributing it. But you can see that this is where the Tupperware container had been, and they dug a nice little hole. And now I'll move it over here. And they'll probably dig this hole and get up under here and make this their little hidey area. You can see Thumper's very interested in the box area. What are you gonna do, Thumps? See the coat on these rabbits? Beautiful. They really make excellent little pets. Oops. You didn't like that. What do they call the rabbits? Somebody told me they're like athletic guinea pigs. But they're not, though, because I don't think a guinea pig's totally vegetarian. I mean, these are 100% just prey animals. And they've been really gentle. They haven't bitten anybody even one time. Occasionally they'll put their mouth on you, but it's not with the bite. It's just like their taste, licking you or something. Oh yeah, come on. Oop. Are you really a rabbit if you don't get to dig holes? That's the question I have. You were allowed one, and now... Hey, Julia. Yeah, that's right, Palm Nation. Different viewpoint on the wild ones for sure. We've actually got one wild bunny. He doesn't get the same kind of treatment as Thumper. That I can guarantee you. Look at little Thumps. This is a little thing I built. It has no purpose, really, other than it's just a little play area for the rabbits. Like I put it over holes they dig and stuff to just make little play areas. What are you doing? Pecking at my feet? The chicken and the bunny, they keep each other company. This is a good way to stop a cackle fest. All right, she's looking at that chicken weed. Look at all this prime bunny manure too. Oh, It's so awesome. I'm gonna go put that all around the yard later today. Maybe I'll put some around now. I've got some still left over in a bucket. But this stuff we call chickenweed. Oh, little crab spiders there. See these little spider webs? Bring the chickens in here and hold them up, and they'll just eat those spiders. Those are little banana spiders. They get actually pretty spiders. Oh well. Well, this is the chickenweed, what we call chickenweed. Yeah, it's a miniature palette. Exactly. It's a beautiful device. Thumper, do you want some? Oh no, but that's yeah. They love this. There used to be a lot of grass in here, but the animals have eaten all the grass. Leave you in there, keep Thumper company. You chick chick. The barred rocks especially love it. Oh, you know why I think they were having the cackle fest? They spilled their water. They were out of water this morning. I put in a temporary pan. It looks like they knocked it over. So, yeah, normally when they get real obnoxious, chatty in a way that's irritating like that, it's for some good reason, like their water ran out or they're out of food or, yeah, that's pretty much it, those two things. They need food or water. They let you know. They're not pleased. Yeah, let's go take a look at the eggs, the egg production. I haven't taken any eggs out in about 4 days. It's been cool in the afternoon here. Cackle Fest 2022, we had to have one, Palm Nation, you know we did. Like if you weren't there. Okay. Yeah, when I go back there, it almost always cuts out the connection. But yeah, I could sell tickets to the next Cackle Fest. There'll be many more this year, I'm sure. All right, so I want to show you just examples of what's happening. The springtime, it just lights me up, man. I mean, makes me feel so stoked that everything is coming back to life. I just start to always feel every year like, oh, it's all dying and it's not going to look good and that it's not going to grow and what I do something wrong, and then it just springs to life. This is the Valencia orange tree, which had been just kind of limping along. You can see it is full of green shoots. So this has real hope now. And if I give it the bunny manure, and that's the bunny manure is the whole idea, I think this could turbo forward. Now it's probably going to get hit by the salt spray from the sprinkler here and start to get beaten back a bit, but if it just turbos through it, it'll at least get into this zone, which this is the zone. Down here, salty sprinkler water. Up here, salty air coming through, ocean air. Right in here, that's food forest zone, which things do very well. You can see things that are in that zone do very well. Things which are below the zone struggle. So, the soursop also, which dropped all of its leaves, and you know, many of these things are affected by the cold weather. It now has lots of little sprouts. The custard apple, lots of little sprouts. Even the tamarind, which I was starting to wonder the tamarind was going to be okay, but this one's not showing it so much, but the tamarinds out front have lots of little shoots on them. Even the tamarind I grew from seeds have a lot of shoots on them. This is a January fig tree, and it has not really woken up yet, and you can tell your fig tree's waking up when those shoots get real vibrant, bright, light green. And this has still got that darkness to it. It just hasn't woken up yet, but it will. You know, I don't expect the fig tree to ever do well in the first year or two, or to look good or anything. It's really a big root tree, meaning its roots will run underground and establish these massive root systems under almost right below the surface. It's a relative of the ficus, so which does the same thing, notorious for its roots. These roots aren't like that in that they're going to lift up pavement, but they're definitely long running, which is why I found it to be almost impossible to transplant them, because you kill that root structure. It seems like they go down every time, but they actually grow pretty well from cuttings, oddly enough. But that one has, oh, actually, I take it back. Look at that. A little bit of sproutage happening on the lower level. Yeah, we got to keep the chickens out of here. Okay, well, enjoy the breakfast. Thanks for joining us, Palm Nation. I appreciate it. Now the mulberry here, I've really added a lot more mulberries this year. Of course, ever-bearing mulberries are one of the easiest possible mulberry trees to grow, and I've added many of those. I'll show you a Persian mulberry that I've got on the side here that's about a year old. Planted it in a podcast last year. It's doing very well, but a lot more mulberries. And you see, the satisfying thing about a mulberry is even as a cutting, it's producing mulberries. And that just speaks to how much of a producer it is. Now, not everything I grow is mostly for me. And in the case of this, I'm going to try this. It's tart. It's actually good. Much of it goes to feed the animals. And the whole idea here is that we got a system that can be closed, meaning you can just kind of sustain itself like regular systems on Earth. Just allowing the system to kind of operate. Good morning, Gerald Franz. Gerald Franz says, good morning, Sir Yoda. In the EB Nation, many blessings to each and every one. My place got ravaged this winter, but took a walk yesterday and ding dang, some stuff actually made it. Woohoo. That's cool. Stoked you're on the stream, Gerald. Now check out this. This is a little, is it Celeste? No, it's a white Marsalis, I believe is what it's called. And you see how it's got a lighter bud tip to it? It's just starting to get a little bit more plump than those other ones look like. This one's really jumping, and you can see some of it's already got leaves that are popping out. So I have high hopes for this. All of this has received bunny manure. You can see the kind of odd, eclectic combination of debris cement that I've used for a ring here. I'm going to replace that with oak here. I'm going to replace all these shoddy edges with oak. In fact, let's talk about oak. Smoke on oak, okra coke. The branches from that oak tree out front that I've been trimming are going to be my new edging for the yard. And this is one of them. This isn't where it's going to end up. I just put it here. But that thing weighs about 200 pounds. I mean, it is heavy. Right on, Gerald. Yeah, it is so heavy, and it'll take a long time for that to break down, but while it's breaking down, it's going to make a very solid structure for edging. And the pieces of oak which were more straight and so on, I'll probably try to build stuff with that. And maybe even give some of it to a friend of mine who does some woodworking, etc. But the curvy pieces lend themselves, I think, beautifully to be edging. Now you can go buy all kinds of edging. I've got various types of edging in my yard. Ultimately, I have many types of edging. None of them a good example of how to do edging because, well, I haven't paid any attention to it really in a long time. But these are the kind of pavers you get at any chain store, of course. And, you know, over time they do what they do, which is separate and kind of look cattywampus. But they hold in the stuff, so to speak. This is a concrete edging that I had installed years ago. And you can see that it also moves. I mean, it's on a moving thing. It's on the sand here, which moves all the time, and it gets kind of patinaed with all the minerals from the sprinkler system. Certainly, you know, a lot of minerals in the water coming out of these sprinkler heads. And then what I've got over here is just a combination of many approaches. This one I like the most, which are pieces of coquina rock, native rock that I just collected over time to make an edge. And I do kind of like that, but let's be honest, I don't have a coquina rock mine, and they actually made it now that you're not supposed to bring any rocks that you find, so, you know, more rules, but the point is I could never get enough rocks. I would break my back doing it, meaning I had a major back injury surfing, so I'm not, definitely have been directed explicitly by my doctor not to do that very thing, although I have, you know, done it. But much of this was done when I was much younger, so now I got to be a little bit more careful. This is the result of an old edge of years ago. I've transformed this yard so many times. It's really my canvas I've just painted on. If you watch the channel, you see a lot of versions of it. But this is just leftover. Quite frankly, this is just a way to contain this bed here. This bed has been scratched to pieces by the hens. No problem. It's also a little dry. What I'm going to do here is add in oak leaves. I'll probably put about 4 inches of oak leaves all back in there. And then the hens will kick it everywhere and I'll rake it back in. But the boundary between bed and lawn, I'm not going to sweat it too much. The important thing is that all the things that are resident here are part of the solution, part of a natural system, and they are. So all these leaves that blow everywhere as they get mowed up, they just become really great nutrients in the soil. So I'm not going to sweat it if it's a little messy. The Cavendish banana grove came right back from a little bit of cold weather, looking great. You can see the cold burns. That's very, very typical effect from, in this case, about 35-degree air hitting it for one day. Really not for very long, just over the night time. But it's bounced right back, and now I just keep in the habit of adding more and more and more organic matter. These are mostly oak leaves, combinations, chocolate pudding tree leaves, Dracaena. I put a lot back in there, and it just all kind of gets consumed by the soil. I mean, it just literally disappears. The bugs and the bacteria and the fungus just consume it and put it right back down in there, all the essential minerals that it was. This, by the way, is an avocado. And very interesting. You know, I believe this is what they call a polycot embryo, meaning you have multiple plants that grow from one seed. And I don't know if I'll let this grow or whatever, but I've never had a papaya look so vigorous, even in the shoot mode. So I've been planting papaya seeds around here and there, and this is one I noticed actually shot up. So we'll see how it goes. But this very beautiful pile of oak leaves is going to be distributed. I've got another pile just as big waiting to be harvested in the front yard. I'll go grab those probably later on this afternoon, and it's going to help everything. My compost bins that I built just continue to eat up compost. I don't know where it goes. I have a theory that it's just all getting eaten up from the bottom by worms and stuff, because it just keeps on going down. Is it just, good morning, a camel. How you doing? Good to see you on. We had all the moderators here today. I love it. I love it. But I'm going to keep adding. I've got to clean the chicken coop out today. That'll be another layer of chicken bedding here, and then I'll layer it again with the oak leaves over top, and we'll just keep making the layer syndrome, I keep wanting to make a video where I flip these compost bins, which is an incredibly easy process of just disconnecting the simple wires I have holding this hoop in place, putting it in a new spot, and then pitchforking in, you know, the top into the bottom, kind of first out, first in to the new location, and you can just turn it over that way. I'm really curious to see what it's like in the center of that thing, because it's been there, you know, doing its thing for so long. And I think about all of the things that I put into this compost bin. It is a combination of oak leaves, banana leaves, mango leaves, Dracaena, bamboo leaves, just on and on and on and on. Lots of chicken bedding. Just about anything that significantly accumulated in terms of vegetative matter, I've been sticking in these things. And they just keep eating it up. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. I even put some cardboard in there at times. And I'm curious if there's worms living up inside it now. There must be. I'm finding worms everywhere in my yard now. It's so great. Oh, look at that. Look at that, look at that. All right. Yeah, I can really get the gimbal up there easily, but look at this. This is what is happening after you trim a Dracaena shrub like this. If you see these vigorous buds, every branch will have multiple of those shoots on it. Oh boy, it's gonna come back strong. Stoked. This is a very functional shrub wall. It's the salt barrier, you know, ocean that way, not too far, so this is the only from destroying it. Yeah, you need more worms there. Soil is too dense and heavy. Yeah, Camel, you're saying it's mostly like a clay situation? Yeah. I had very little worm activity back here prior to a year and a half ago that I could find. And now, okay, yeah, the clay. Now there's a lot. I think if you provide the things that worms like, they will come. You know, and what does a worm like? Well, it likes bunny manure. It likes animal waste, right? I think. So that's been the game changer. But if you give the worms what they need to eat, what they need to survive, you'll have worms. That's how it was explained to me by Suzanne over at Funky Chicken Farms out there in Palm Bay, was that, you know, the worms require food and water. And if you provide them with that, they'll be there. And you can seed the worms. I've got red wigglers back in the worm farm right there. You can do that, but you don't really need to. I mean, here, the worms just came back, and they're not red wigglers. They're just the regular earthworms, and they're everywhere. But I'm establishing the environment for them as well, meaning I'm putting all this wood down on the ground. And you see this wood on the ground achieves a lot of things. Well, first of all, it achieves the obvious thing of fungus, encouraging fungus. Look at that turkey tail mushroom. That's a versicolor mushroom, meaning it has many colors depending on what it's growing in. Let's see, there's another one over here. Give you a good example of what it looks like in a different color. And then typically you'll find them being brown as they get older, but the fact that I'm leaving, these are Montingia tree branches, strawberry tree branches. The fact that I'm leaving them on the ground, it allows everything that's in the ground to utilize them, meaning the fungus, the bacteria, the bugs. This is a really weird fungus. I don't know what this is. I'd love it if somebody could tell me what this is, or look up on the internet maybe what this is. But look, you see these little, I'll try to get a good shot. You see those little, it's like a little black fiber, and on the end of it, it's white. See, and they're growing out of, here's another one, growing out of the wood everywhere. And this has got to be some kind of fungus, but I just don't know what it is, and it's so unusual. Like, all these things are just kind of appearing in the yard. There it is. That's a good shot. What is that? You know, it's true that there is a nearly incomprehensible, complex world right under your feet at all times. It's like there's not really a lot you're going to do to change that or to ultimately interfere with it for long. Maybe on a human lifetime scale, but you know, that's whatever is happening there, that whole fungus interaction. And by the way, what happens under that pile of leaves stays under that pile of leaves. We'll never know what's going on under there. But what's going on there under there is what always goes on. It's a whole system of interacting pieces that work really in unity, and any concept that you might have that there's some separation between, I don't know, you and me, or me and this stuff, is merely an illusion. It is absolutely an illusion. I would posit and dare you to consider that the concept of separation is an illusion. All right. On that note, let's take a look at this edge. Let's take a look at this edge. And thank you, Gerald. I am attempting to cook with gas. A camel says, do you grow rose apples, the tropical ones? That's an interesting question. I do not. And, you know, that really makes me, here we go, this is a very Zen shot. It really makes me think about rose-flavored things, though, when you say that. I'm aware of the rose apple, and I'm going to look into it now more, because you sparked my curiosity, but rose-flavored things, the things that kind of taste like a rose water, and I would say like a Java plum is one of them, and there might be a couple of others that are in that category. I find that to be absolutely fascinating. I should have something rose flavored in my yard. Thank you for that. Oh, by the way, I was looking at, shout out to the cool people at, what's the name of their place? A Tree for Me in Sebastian, Florida. By the way, A Tree for Me, if you listen to this stream, leave a comment, link to your place, but I'm sure everybody can find it. It's in Sebastian, and they have a lot of plants. If you're ever in Sebastian, Florida, which I'm not that far from Sebastian, Florida right here, I could easily get down there. And as I talk about it, I'm talking myself into going there. They just got a new shipment of trees on 3-3. What's it now, 3-5? 3, I don't know what it is. Anyway, doesn't matter. Wasn't that long ago they got a shipment, and they've got all kinds of stuff. They always have great prices, and the plants seem to be more healthy than other, I don't know where they get their plants from, but I like it. And they have all the things I tend to be interested in. Good selection of like fruit trees and various interesting tropicals. They're down far enough south there that they really are in a more tropical zone than I am here, even though just a little bit north. So I got a little bit more of that South Florida vibe. Considering getting a royal palm, a giant palm tree for my front yard. Certainly some more fruit trees would be interesting. I didn't see rose apple on their list, but they give a listing of all the trees they have and the prices. And then where they sell it is like, I think it's like their house, and then the whole property around them, they've got basically just covered in plants and really neatly organized, and it's just so easy. They're very helpful. So anyway, yeah, I love stuff like that. But if I'm going down there, I'm going to end up spending like $200 almost every time, or want to spend $200, but I'm almost always going to buy one. Yeah, Gerald Franz, surfing Sebastian Inlet back in the day. Beautiful area. It absolutely still is a beautiful area, and still super fun to surf. Yeah. I'll tell you what, today is a windy, washy day And I love me some windy, washy days, especially with a little bit of size. About 5-foot waves out there today, I'd imagine. Maybe a little bigger, probably 6-foot sets here and there. But on the high tide here locally, just slammy inside shore break kind of swimming. We have, I have hand planes that Jack and I use, and we just bought boogie board fins or whatever, flippers, body surfing fins. So we are set up to do championship level body surfing, which I love to do. Because really a lot of days, high tide here, even when it's small, it is super fun to body surf. And when you have these hand planes, wow, it's incredibly fun. It's like a boogie board that you put on your hand. It kind of, the strap kind of goes over the back of your hand, and it's maybe 6 inches, 7 inches long. No, longer. It's got to be about a foot. Yeah, it's about a foot by a foot long boogie board that you put on your hand, the kind we have. And it keeps you up above the water so that you can get right into the face of the wave and surf it, with your body in a way that you could never do just swimming. Yeah. Gerald Friend says, I need to get better with the chat. I know how to do it, I just haven't done it. That was back when I could swim like a fish. Nowadays, I'm more like a clam. Yeah. I know how you feel. I'm not getting younger. That's for sure. I'm much more careful with my body now, knowing how easily I can get hurt. It's like sometimes I like walk too fast on the sidewalk and slip with a sandal on, and next thing you know, I'm like injured for a week. It's like, geez. That never used to happen. Brush that off and nothing. But anyway, just more careful. I've had to shorten my surfs down to only really surf in excess when I'm willing to sacrifice the next days, or take Advil every day. But I typically try to keep them down to 2 or 3 hour long sessions, whereas when I was in my 20s, it was nothing to go out for 2 4-hour sessions and another 2 hours in the evening. On days when I had the whole day up and there were waves, I would just go all day long. I had this thing where I would put granola bars into Ziploc bags in my back pocket so I didn't have to come in to eat on hurricane days, because it gets so big, you just paddle to the outside, but it could take you like 45 minutes to an hour to get out, literally, on some of these days. It's so big, and it's just short. Here in Florida, we don't have like point breaks or so on like in California where you could paddle out through a channel or around and get to a place. You got to go through it, so it is brutal. And once you're out there on a big day, mostly there's nobody else out there. Nobody else out there on those type of days. And that's when you need yeah, that's when you need the granola bar in your pocket. 2 leashes and a granola bar in your pocket. That was my way to go. I always do 2 leashes too, because I've had the leash broken on days that were gigantic and I was the only person out, and the leash breaks and you're 500 yards out in the ocean and with a lot of current, and that's just a bummer. That experience is not in any way fun until it's over. First of all, by the time you get into the beach, your board is like, is it even still, can you even find it? Did somebody steal it? Or think it just washed, what's happening? But yeah, it never worked out where I lost my board, actually. I could always find it. Anyway, I might go down and splash in that water today. One thing I love to do is to get in, not that I love to do it, I love to, what's the word? Cold water immersion, to get in that cold water. And I think I missed the window here. The water really never got that cold here this year. Up in Daytona Beach, I think it got down in the 50s actually this year, but here it really never got lower than about 65. In the ocean, which is certainly cool, but not that cold. But I love to go down and jump in that cold water when it happens for that cold water immersion thing. I did start to get into cold showers, and cold baths. Actually, at one point, I put 2 40-pound bags of ice in my bathtub and submerged in that with water. And Wow. That's an experience like no other. Talk about a reset of every molecule in your body to get into that kind of cold, especially when you live in Florida and you've got no ability to withstand any cold because you just become so soft. Oh, by the way, I heard a saying today. I was watching stuff on the feed, and one thing that really stuck with me. It was Dave Rubin said it. If you know the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin. I've been following him for years. He's like a real classic liberal, which I would consider myself to be. Absolutely. I don't think there's maybe like 10 of us left on Earth or something, but the word liberal has been so co-opted by ridiculous ideas. But yeah, Dave Rubin said basically, I think everything cycles. So this is, and everything's happened before, meaning all things repeat, and you can existentially see the patterns of the universe, at least at the scale of your life. If you pay attention, you see it at every level, at every moment of your life. But the saying was that good times make weak men. Weak men make bad times. Bad times make good men, and so it repeats. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing. And the idea was that we have had it so good. I could complain about plenty of things if I tried at it, but I'm saying, like, there has not been a lot of the negative things, let's say, that may have pervaded most of human history occurring in my general vicinity. So I've had food and shelter and security. And, that kind of thing, I think, has made everybody weak. Everybody weak. Myself, you, everybody. And I think, times are less good now, and it's making people stronger. And it's certainly highlighting people, even, internationally, nationally, of strength. It's highlighting real moral character and false virtue and all that kind of thing. And I think, chances are at some point you get on the good side of the cycle where you got enough good men doing the right thing. But in order to do that, we all got to become more collectively strong in every way. And just let fear slough off of us as if it were water on a duck's back. To know it is there, but realize it is mere transient. And in order to do that, I'm going to claim that Maslow had the general 3 down, and that's food, shelter, security. And if you're going to try to have any kind of strength, you're going to have your own personal sitch in order. You're going to have that food, that shelter, and that security taken care of to the maximum amount you need. That may be relative to your individual circumstance, which you would have to assess, yet you got to attend to them. Jordan Peterson would say, make your bed. He doesn't mean make your bed. He means if you haven't prepared your life, your room, your general vicinity, your family relationships, your career, your health, if you haven't, attended to those, just write down a list of all the things you need to do. We could all, that fall under the category of dumb stuff I do. So I do this all the time. Write them down, and it's never hard for me to get a list going. And a lot of times it's just the dumb stuff that you do is so stupid that you almost don't want to write it down and admit that you do it. Like, I don't know, brush your teeth 3 times a day. Whatever it is, like, that kind of stuff. The basics. Go to bed at a time that you can be awake enough the next day to operate at your best level. Go to bed at the right time. Whatever it is. These basic, like, kindergarten level skills that are screwing up your flow, bro. Fully regulating your maximum potential. And you could just simply make your bed and realize that is always the solution to everything, which is personal responsibility. Sets you up to be strong. Because if you're not, then you're no good to anybody. And you're just false virtue. And like a ghost, like an illusion. pretending. But nothing that's happening right here is pretend, and also nothing that happens right here is really much a example of what I do, other than just trying to flow with what's going on and possible in my little zone here. We've got a lot of factors that make it very fun to grow things, like sunlight, like a decent amount of rainfall. You know, plenty of things working against it, but ultimately it's about just kickstarting the system. Like I have nothing to do with the system, more or less. I just add a little bit of my mojo to it and it gets a rolling on its own. And the mojo is, without any doubt, bunny turds. Said it before, I went seeking bunnies. I went seeking poo and I found bunnies. And the poo was going to be chicken manure. I found out the bunny manure is much better. This is a big heaping bucket of bunny manure. And it occurred to me that I should just demonstrate how incredibly easy it is. I've got to do this later today, but it's gotten kind of gross. You can see that this is like this is a philosophical experiment. Look at that. Is that gross? No, that is gold. Here's all I do. Oh yeah, drink it in. It's a bunny patty. That's it. Put that there and that sucker is going to be successful. I guarantee it. And you can take another one and you just pick what you want to bless. That's it. Now, since my Suriname cherry is loaded with flowers, do you see those flowers? Now is the time to give it the fertilizer. There it is. Just spackle it down. Can't buy this at Lowe's. Now what I'll do is, after I spackle down these portions, around each of these trees, is I'll come back with the hose and I'll water it in. But this is my whole method. The secret to success. Not so much of a secret. You really don't have to worry too much about getting it in the wrong place because, oddly enough, there is no wrong place. Well, maybe your shoe. Drop some on your shoe, get it on your hand. I don't know if it's the wrong place. That's another philosophical exercise. All right. Now, this starfruit tree is not looking that great right now. It's kind of a little spindly. Welcome back, friend. Yeah, so the poo system connected to the mango system. Done. I've almost got every tree in the yard just like that. This Tommy Atkins. Tommy Atkins has got some mango flowers on it already. I saw perking up. You see over here. I don't know if you, oh, there you go. Up there, in the right-hand side of the screen, there's mango flowers starting. I trimmed this one way back this year, so I wasn't sure what it was going to do. Let me give it a little love. All right, now this Barbados Cherry. I do not see flowers on it yet. It's not really doing anything right now, but that'll change. And the reason I flatten it out like that is just so it's easier to water in. This is the sour sop. Now, this is going to draw in the bunny, this is going to draw in the worms, which are going to also poo, provide worm castings. Gonna bring in the right kind of bacteria, the fungus. The orange tree. Ah, the strawberry tree. Let's just give everything I think I can use the rest of this bunny manure. There you go. I love not having to worry about like what to fertilize. There's no plant that's going to be lacking in the macronutrients that has this situation going on. Now I also have the micronutrients in the form of pellets, granular. You know, compost will also get you that micronutrient. There we go. So will biochar. Now this you know, kind of condensed bunny manure is actually highly effective. Just put it in a bucket, add a little water, and let it just turn into more or less a paste. And I found it to be the easiest to apply to these trees in that form. However, if you can get it where it's nice and dry, in the little pellets, that's the kind of stuff that I use on the lawn. Now, here are the yeah, these moringa trees just got whacked by the cold, and they almost looked dead, and then I saw, oh no, they're not dead. They're gonna come back. And then I'll give them some of this. Now they have no choice. All the animals love the moringa. Tastes kind of like horseradish. I don't really like the flavor, but yeah, anyway. That was pretty easy. Pretty easy. I'll just leave the rest there. I'm gonna leave this bucket over here because I'm gonna collect the remaining bunny manure. Oh, hey, chicken. You wanna go back in the pen? Come on. In you go. There we go. They've calmed down. Where is Thumper? Oh, what are you doing, Thumps? Dig, you know. So I'm looking forward to, and I've got to do it before it gets too hot. I'll probably do it in the next cold snap, get a little cool snap. But I'm going to replace these 4x4s finally with all oak edging. And I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to fill in with the oak leaves all the way up to the edge of the oak edging. And it will replace all this and have the meandering lines of the natural oak tree shape of the branches. So looking forward. Oh, hey, look at what we have here. It's not pretty, but it's tasty. The lemons, this is a Meyer lemon. Oh yeah, that one's nice and ripe. Yeah, when they get orange like that, they're almost overripe, but that's right on the edge. They're gnarly. Like if you look at that, you'd think, is there something wrong with it? Not at all. This skin of these lemons is so tough. It takes the hit from whatever it is that happens to them. And inside you'll find a beautiful sweet-fleshed lemon. So you tolerate the gnarliness of the outside in order to get the result. Yeah, I'm glad we got that done. I'm glad we got that done. Interesting phenomenon, the Edward mango, which you could see had, let's see if we can get you. Yeah, a lot of dead flowers. That was because it sprouted flowers very early in December, and then we got a cold snap. Killed them all, but lo and behold, sprouting again. Now, that bunny manure that I just gave it is going to make it absolutely explode with growth. So this might be the year, the first year I actually get a crop from the Edward mango tree. Last year, it gave about 5 mangoes, and then they slowly got knocked off one by windstorms. Oh well. And I had no mangoes. So we'll wait again this year. My Hayden mango, wow. It bloomed the same time. It got the same freeze. No, it didn't freeze, but the same coldness. And yet it retained many little pea-sized mangoes up there. Super happy about that. This is the best tasting mango that I have. So delicious. A little fibery, the fruit, which I like. I like it without the fiber too, but I don't mind the fiber. But you can see there's plenty that have set, and now it's also blooming again. So I should have a bumper crop of Haydens. We'll see how we do with the Tommy Atkins this year. The more I look, the more I see little sprouts occurring. But this is the time of year we're checking for sprouts everywhere. We're gonna go out and look at a Persian mulberry tree here shortly. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, Joe Frances, can you overdo the bunny gold? Can you burn the plants with the bunny gold? I think it would be really hard to do that, but it's possible, you know, if a plant is sensitive to that kind of thing. But it's cold manure, so it is not a concern that it's going to burn the plant like you would have that concern with cow manure or horse manure or chicken manure. It's cold manure, which is really one of the things that makes it so unique. So that is why it can be directly applied to around the trees. Now, if I took a scoop of chicken manure that size and put it around the trees, it would probably be a death sentence to every one of the things I did that to, or it would severely impact it. You would see, and I've killed some things with putting chicken bedding around it, I believe, directly, you know, with the chicken manure in it, a lot of chicken manure in it. I don't think that's advisable, but the bunny manure, I've never had a problem with it. I mean, in terms of it, you know, anything I put it on dying or suffering afterwards that I've noticed. So what I have noticed though is almost right away you see the result of the tree just jumping up. And where I noticed it the most was in the yield I could get from my trees. The mango trees last year, it was about 6 months after when I started doing this, gave the highest yields I've ever seen. I mean, twice what I ever had before, if not, you know, much more. So I'd say heap it on. And then, you know, I water it in too. So this little area here, this is one of the only places I've finished the oak edge on. This is our little surf shower spot where we shower off after coming back from the ocean, but you can see the idea of what I'm going for here. Beautiful Nepalese cactus flower. Edible cactus. This was developed as a crop cactus, but then they realized that it required too much water to be grown in the desert areas. But it grows great in Florida. It's an edible ped cactus. It's a thornless cactus. It's one of my favorites. And in terms of a food crop, this is an incredible one. Incredible. It takes almost nothing to grow it. It doesn't require fertilizer or anything. And if you give it fertilizer, holy moly. These taste about like a cucumber. This was the grapefruit tree I rescued. Clinging to life. It almost went down from the salt. Mexican sunflower. Seen these around for years, finally decided to grow one. All right, this is what I want to show you. Look at that. That is a Persian mulberry. and it's absolutely getting ready to go off. This thing I'm going to give the bunny manure to very quickly, very soon before I break it off, because it would lose them anyway, and it's going to have new leaves any day, and the animals love the Persian mulberry leaf. This is going to, you can see that it's got it's got fruit on it already on the little sprouts. I love that about the mulberry. Looking so good. Oh, I've been waiting for this thing to burst forth, and it finally did. Yeah, so the side area of the house I'm going to actually plant in that little vegetable garden, so that should be fun. But I've been neglecting this area too. This Moringa tree was looking so good last year, and it just almost looked like it was starting to die back, but now it's jumping forward, and I'm sure it's going to do very well. These are all cuttings. Everything in here was just grown from cuttings stuck in there. All right, let's see here. Do we have any? Carrot. Nice. The grow table, this whole area is going to be completely revitalized. I might do another series too where I start to experiment around and plant with stuff on the table, but it's not aesthetically very pleasing, but functionally it is very good. We've got all kinds of things I'm getting ready to plant, like the sugar cane. That'll jump out of the ground once I plant it. The pigeon peas, more moringa, of course. But a lot of pigeon peas. I do want to maximize the pigeon pea this year, meaning I'd like to tree form it in some spots in my front yard and see if I can get it to be, big out there, which is why I'm growing so many. Let's see how that dream goes. You girls have this. Oh, there. She's got the peck. Ooh. They get very territorial sometimes over these leaves. Ooh, see that? There you go. I think Thumper might like this rabbit food. Classic rabbit food. Thumps, there you are. Well, it looks like he's making some progress. Hey, Penelope, you want some? They love the leaves more than the carrot. Here you go, here you go, classic. Think she likes it? These are spoiled rabbits. They get so much fresh veg. you go. Ooh, Thumper's getting frisky. There's no doubt about it. So they get a little bit like a wild hare, so to speak. No pun intended. Primal rabbit. Oh no. I think he's getting his sleepy hair on, actually. It might be time for Thumper to take his afternoon nap in the dirt. Interesting thing is, I built this Zen bunny run with a wire door. And that was so if we had bunnies in here, we could see them. What the bunnies like to do is come sit right there. They come sit there and they just look out onto the yard. And you know, we let them out onto the yard sometimes too, and they'll come and hop back in here. They'll go back in eventually. If we left them in the yard long enough, they would dig a hole and get out, I'm sure. But you don't leave them in the yard that long. By the way, please give a thumbs up if you like this kind of stuff. I certainly enjoy bringing it to you. I might go check out some live streams today. I think I might do a little bit more live streaming. I might jump over to the Surf All Day A1A channel and stream just a bit later today. I'll look at all the live stream cameras along the coast and see what the waves are doing. Cocoa Beach, certainly. Take a look at Flagler Beach. Take a look at North Carolina. South Florida, west coast of Florida. I look at a lot of spots. Usually I'll go look at, see what Hawaii is doing too. Yeah, but mellow start to the day. So mellow, I can't even remember where I put my coffee. Now I can remember. I left it back here. Probably shouldn't leave it just sitting. Oh, by the way, one of my goals for 2022, besides all the others, is to read more poetry. I've always loved poetry, and there's so much of it. In fact, maybe now would be a good time to read a quick one that I like, that I was reading this morning. I've got it marked. Let's see. Well, this will be good. I'll put the camera down on the chickens and read the poem, because I've got this mic on, I can do that. All right, keep it out of pecking distance. There we go. Okay, now you can see that I could actually walk far away and still, you don't have to hear the chickens too loud that way either. All right, this one is by William Blake. It is called The Tiger, spelled with a Y, T-Y-G-E-R. In case you're interested, William Blake. The Tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wing dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dead grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? I like that one. So, yeah, read more poetry, 2022. Read more poetry in your permaculture backyard food forest. By the way, shout out to David the Good. Always got to give a shout out to David the Good. Go check out his channel too, if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Thank you for everybody who joined us today on the stream. If you'd like to support the channel, of course, you can always give a super chat during the chat, or you can click on any of the links in the description, give a thumbs up to the video, leave a comment. Those are all ways to support, or just watch. I hope you have a great day. I hope every step you take brings you closer to personal prosperity and contentedness. Thanks for watching Eat Your Backyard. See you there, Gerald Franz.